When was the last time you really felt at peace? When was the last time you really felt at peace? And I don't mean a moment when things were quiet. I mean a moment when something inside of you just let go. When the fear eased up and your shoulders relaxed. When for a moment it felt like everything might be okay. I recognize those moments can be rare. And they usually don't come when we expect them to. Peace doesn't always arrive when the calendar clears up and the storm passes. Sometimes it shows up right in the middle of the mess. When you're tired and you're anxious, not sure what's coming next. Sometimes it shows up when everything around you says it shouldn't. And it's right in the middle of this moment where Jesus is today. For he's not standing in the sunshine preaching to this crowd. He's gathered around a table with his closest friends. And it's in this moment and it's in this meal where he's telling his disciples goodbye. For he knows what is to come next. The betrayal, the cross, and the grief that his disciples will soon feel. And he knows their fear, and it's in this moment he speaks these words to them. When he says, "My peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give as the world gives, so don't let your hearts be troubled. And do not be afraid." And in the midst of this goodbye, there's a lot happening, but I'm really drawn to that first line Jesus tells the disciples when he says, "My peace I give to you." Just hearing that word peace makes me breathe a little deeper. It's like in yoga when they remind you to relax your jaw and you instantly relax your jaw and you just feel this overwhelming sense of peace. Maybe it does that for you. But the peace Jesus offers isn't what we expect. It's not what we imagine. For it's not a break in the chaos or a quiet afternoon with no appointments on the calendar. Because Jesus says, "I do not give to you the way the world does." Because the world's version of peace is usually conditional. It's earned, almost always temporary. For it says, peace comes when everything's under control or when the noise dies down or when you've finished what feels like an endless to-do list or when you've gotten your act together. Which then frames peace as a reward or a prize or maybe even a lucky break. But Jesus gives differently, freely. Even on the night of his betrayal, even when everything is about to fall apart. And the peace he offers isn't this absence of trouble. It's the presence of something much deeper. It's this settledness, rootedness in God's love that cannot be shaken, even when life feels anything but peaceful. In the Jewish tradition, the word for peace is shalom. And it doesn't mean calm or quiet. It means wholeness. It means connectedness. It means healing. So when somebody would offer another person Shabbat Shalom, they weren't saying, "May you have a restful Saturday." They were saying, "May you be restored to the fullness in the presence of God." That's the kind of peace Jesus is talking about. The kind that doesn't depend on your circumstances, but instead the kind that settles your heart when the world around you feels like it's falling apart. The kind that reminds you, you belong to God, no matter what. And what's remarkable is that Jesus doesn't just promise this peace, he gives it. Not as a theory, not as a vague hope, but as a gift. He gives us this gift of peace, and then we are to take this gift and pass it on. And because the church in its wisdom didn't just preserve those words, we built them into the very fabric of our worship. For each and every week when we gather, we take time to share God's peace with one another. And that's what we're doing when we worship together. When we spend those moments shaking hands, we are saying the peace of Christ be with you. We're not saying, "Hey there," or "Howdy." We name it specifically. The peace of Christ. This wholeness, this healing, this promise that God is with us and will never let us go. And sometimes we like to rush through that part of the service or we see it as this transitional moment to get to the next place, to get to communion, or to sneak out so that we don't have to get caught up in awkward small talk. But it's not small talk. It's not filler. It is truly a sacred moment. A moment when we pause and we look each other in the eye and say, the same peace that Christ gave to me, I give to you. There's a bishop in the Midwest, his name's Bishop Craig Satterley. And he says that if we really took this moment serious, sharing the peace might get a little uncomfortable. Because real peace asks something of us. It asks us to be present. It asks us to be honest. It asks us to stop pretending everything is fine and to say, here I am, receiving what I cannot earn, giving it away freely to you. And the passing of the peace isn't just a transition. It's placed very intentionally in the worship service. That before we come to this table of Holy Communion, we pause to make peace with each other. It's almost a continuation of confession and forgiveness that we do at the beginning of worship. For we have been reconciled with God, and so now we go to each person and be reconciled with them as well. So when we share the peace, we're preparing our hearts, but also preparing as a community to come to the table together, open and honest and whole. But today I want to take it one step deeper. I want to teach you how to say, peace be with you in American Sign Language. Not as a gimmick, but as an act of hospitality. For we have folks in our community who use ASL. And so in some ways, this is us saying, you are fully part of our community. But it's also this reminder that sharing the peace isn't just something we say, it's something we embody. And so if you'll take your hands and press your palms together and almost make an X. So to say peace, you'll pivot your hands and then push them away. So that's to become quiet. And then with you. So we'll do it together. So peace be with you. If you'll do that with the person beside you on each side real quick, just so you can get some more practice. I don't want you to forget. So I'll do it again for you just so you can see it. So peace be with you. Yeah, you're going to get a chance to practice this a lot in a few minutes. But my hope today and in the Sundays to come is when you pass the peace, you don't rush it. That you look someone in the eye and you sign it or you say it, but most importantly, you offer it. And let that small moment carry a deeper truth that Christ's peace is yours. And it is simply too good to keep to ourselves. And so we offer it and our very selves to each other. Amen.